learned about White today, or something that he reinforced?
Mastering the obvious. You know, he's really good at doing his job. He gets rid of the ball. He gets it where it needs to get to. And I thought our O-line did a great job protecting him. And when he needed to be aggressive, he was aggressive. But it's anytime you have success, there's reinforcement. But I don't think there's a guy in the locker room that didn't think he'd be able to perform today.
I think personally, the way I approach the quarterback position is being a calming presence in the huddle, especially when things aren't going well, because that's when things can start to spiral and snowball. But it's just distributing the ball and letting them be who they are. They're all in that locker room for a reason. This is the NFL. Everybody in that wears pads on Sundays are very good, and you just got to get them the ball and get their confidence going. And
welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, the Jets get back in the win column, beating the Chicago Bears 31-10 on the back of Mike effing White. That's right. Competent offense. We got to see it. He did it again. This guy just knows how to execute the offense, the game plan. Everyone was getting involved. This was really exciting. All right, I'm going to try and calm myself down. Let's get into my top 5 takeaways. I'll give you a little bit of feedback on everything as we go through this. First up, special teams. Greg the Legatron Zuerlein comes in, hits all 4 of his extra points, goes 1 for 2 on field goals. The long he had was 57, but if that kick was 13 yards back, I'm damn near sure he would have made a 70-yard field goal. That might have been the longest kick I have ever seen, and given the weather, I trust this dude in a game-ending situation from, like, anywhere on the field. It was awesome. Now, it's not without a little bit of flub-ups. Daniel Bradenman had himself a halfway decent day punting. I think he averaged 59 yards on punts. He did have the one drop on the muffed field goal, the first field goal that we attempted. I think it was the first field goal we attempted, where the ball was snapped, popped out of his hands. I thought it was going the other direction. Absolutely terrified. Turns out he didn't have a glove on that one hand. I don't think the snap was fully great either, but he wound up putting glove back on. Wardrobe malfunction, Mr. Bradenman. And everything else kind of went smoothly after that. Luckily, he had enough forethought. I think it was forethought or whatever to like throw the ball forward, and that counted as a pass. It was an incomplete pass, so it did not go back the other way. Although I'll admit, I really thought man was trying to like pass it to Zuerlein, and it was really an attempted pass, like, hey, let's get as many yards as possible. And I think he thought it was a fumble too. I don't know if he actually intended for it to be an incomplete pass. Either way, Jets got lucky. Special teams basically held their own the entire day with the exception of that one flub up. Overall, pretty happy with what we got out of the special teams unit. The defensive side of the ball, these guys got a little bit of help from the offense, so I think they're feeling pretty happy today. The defense, Mosley really was the one that kind of stuck out to me. 10 tackles, 1 pass deflected, 1 hit, 1 interception, right as the Bears were driving into the red zone. So this was really cool to see him kind of have that kind of game. Captain of the defense, having himself a day. Sauce and Reed, I would say this was probably their worst game, which is like not really saying a whole heck of a lot, considering they've been phenomenal every single week. But it was just kind of like Reed gave up a touchdown. Sauce had the penalty against him. Basically, after the first quarter, for the most part, like the next 44 minutes were owned by the New York Jets. They shut out the entire Bears offense, and they kind of went back into form. I almost feel like the defense was honestly preparing for Justin Fields and had no idea that they were going to have to like worry about the throw because they came out so flat. It's almost like they had too much turkey on Thanksgiving and they came out a little sluggish. Then they started clicking. I mean, heck, we didn't even know who the Bears starting quarterback was going to be until like 10 minutes before the game. Heck, I don't even know if it was that early before the game. It might have been like as he was running out on the field, it was like, okay, is it going to be Simeon? Is it going to be, Peterman? I don't know. Overall, very happy with what we got out of the defense. 10 points from them, given up. Just another stout performance. This unit has been awesome all season long. They did have 2 sacks. One from, I believe it was John Franklin Myers, and I'm going to forget the other name. John Franklin Myers had half a sack. I can't remember who had the other half a sack off the top of my head. And then Bryce Huff came screaming off the edge. He had a really, really good sack. That guy just appears on the stat sheet every single week. I'm looking forward to seeing what he could get with a little bit more playing time. Now let's move to the offensive side of the ball. The wide receivers, they're getting involved. Garrett Wilson has himself a day. 5 receptions, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Elijah Moore gets in the game. 2 receptions, 64 yards, and a really, really nice touchdown. Both his receptions were very, very nice. And then Denzel Mims had the 1 reception for 11 yards. There was a bunch of guys getting involved. These were just the top 3 wide receivers. The tight ends were involved. The running backs were involved. Oh, very, very cool. Glad we got the receivers kind of firing on all cylinders. Last week we had literally 9 completions. The receivers were getting frustrated. You could see the body language on the field. Even like through the beginning portion of the season, you were seeing guys trying to contort to catch balls from Zach Wilson. Today, Mike White was hitting dudes in stride. Ability to get yak after the play. This is how receivers earn their money. This is why they've wanted Mike White to start. So very pleased what we've got out of the wide receiver room, and I'm excited to see where everything kind of goes from here with this whole situation. The running back room, a little bit very good overall. Little concerning maybe a touch because of Michael Carter had the injury. He had 8 rushes for 36 yards. Johnson had 6 rushes. Actually, I think I mistyped this. So Knight had 17 touches for 103 yards. Johnson had 6 touches, not rushes, for 78 yards and a touchdown. Carter had 8 touches for 36 yards. And they did leave the game with an ankle injury, so that's why he's so far down the list. My understanding is James Robinson did not play today because I guess maybe his knee was acting up a little bit, but the Jets were also getting Corey Davis back, so they deactivated Jeff Smith, which meant they had someone lacking on the special teams unit, and Bam Knight plays special teams, so I think that's why Bam got the start instead of James Robinson. Not to mention Robinson, if he doesn't hit a certain threshold of yardage gained, the Jets would only give up a 6th-round pick instead of a 5th-round pick. So Joe Douglas loves his draft picks. You're picking a guy 32 players ahead of where you would if Robinson doesn't get that necessary yardage. I want to say it was like 250, 260 yards is what he needs on the season here. But overall, liked what we got from the running game. I thought they were ripping off yards at a clip. I don't know what we finished at a yards per carry, but it felt like it was easily like close to 5 yards per carry. Really happy with what we got out of the running back room today. Bam Knight is electric. Oh man, he is really exciting to watch. I mean, it just feels like he puts his foot in the ground and he's able to get upfield real quick. And Ty Johnson ran tough. Like, as much as I get frustrated with Ty Johnson and the drops that he's had in the past, he has been pretty rock solid all season long, so I'm glad we wound up holding on to him. And I think when I'm looking at like these 3 running backs in particular, not having Robinson on the field, not that I don't like Robinson, I really do, but if he didn't get a lot of touches and we saved that draft pick, I'm not necessarily super bummed about it. So maybe it's a full running back by committee the rest of the way out. And then we get to our guy. That's right. It is the one, the only Mike effing White, 22 of 28 for 79% completion percentage, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, had a 149.3 QBR. He hit 10 different receivers. 10. That's 1 more than the amount of completions we had all of last week. That's nuts. Like, literally nuts. I think more than the stat line. Like, the stat line's great for Mike White, but literally getting all these different receivers involved and tight ends and running backs, getting them involved gets them interested in the offense. They're finally getting their reps. You can allow these guys to make plays out in space. Not to mention the defense can't key in on one particular guy when you're spreading the ball all the way around. This was awesome. Really, really cool to see this out of Mike White. And the guy could not be more humble. I think the players respect him because he's had to earn his spot the entire way out. And I don't know how you even consider thinking about going back to Zach Wilson right now. Mike White threw 4 starts. It's 4 starts, has 2 300-yard games. Zach Wilson, through 20 games, has 1 300-yard. Of note, Mike White has 2 wins in his 300-yard games. Zach Wilson has a loss in his 300-yard game. So clearly, Mike White is able to operate the offense effectively and efficiently. It's just fun to watch. Some other stats. There have only been 8 passing days for the New York Jets in which a quarterback reached 300 yards, 75% completion percentage, and 3 touchdowns. 4 of those came from Ken O'Brien, 1 from Geno Smith, 1 from Chad Pennington, and 2 from Mike White. 2! What's this guy going to do with a whole season under his belt? 6 games left. 6 games left. We get to see him against the Vikings. There's a lot of things to knock Mike White for, as far as like the level of competition. This is where the Zach believers are going to be coming out, and they're going to say, hey, look at the competition that Zach played against the Patriots. Number 1 defense in DVOA. Bears, number 30th in DVOA. That's fine. I get that. I understand that. You can only play who's on the field. But let's not pretend like Zach Wilson was having great days against the bad defenses that he faced. He's been having bad games against everyone. I'm going to give you another stat, or another factoid. What do these quarterbacks have in common? Trey Lance, Davis Mills, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa, and Marcus Mariota all have in common? They all did worse against this Bears defense than Mike effing White. Come on! That's right. This guy is already at a point where he is better than the rest of the league. I believe in Mike White. I believe in Mike White. That's what it is. I really believe that this guy can operate the offense. I'm trying not to get too far ahead of myself. I say I believe in Mike White. I'm excited for Mike White. I'm excited to see him these next 2 weeks. These are going to be much tougher opponents going against the Vikings this week and the Bills next week. I do think, and what I have said, is that he may come back a little bit more down to earth these next 2 weeks. I don't think the Vikings are an overly tough defense, but I think they have far more firepower than a backup quarterback, obviously, with... why am I losing my train of thought here? not Justin Fields. Who the hell did we just first? Trevor Siemian. So I think Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Cook, Thielen, like that crew over there, that's going to be a true test to see if we can stay toe-to-toe. Not to mention, Mike White, they took the foot off the gas after 3 quarters. Like, this guy's stat line, he could have easily had over 400 yards and another touchdown. Like, this guy played his tail off. Absolutely love it. I've been saying for a while, I think Zach does come back at some point, but if White has more games like this, I don't see how you could bring Zach back. Zach's sitting on the sidelines. If I'm watching that and I'm Zach Wilson and I'm seeing Mike White having all the fun he's having, all the receivers are having a blast, and the fans are chanting Mike effing White in the stands, dude, it feels like you lost your team. Feels like your girlfriend's sleeping with another dude and she comes back to tell you like, oh, dude, that guy was good. That's what it feels like. Mike White's the other dude, and everyone loves it. It's nice to see the offense operating the way it should. I'm excited. I don't know where this goes. I don't care. I'm just enjoying the ride. Guys, let me know your thoughts on Mike White's performance. How do you feel he did? How do you think he's going to do in these upcoming games? Where do the Jets stand in this playoff race? We're sitting at the number 7 seed as of recording this video, and I'm excited. Jets finally have an offense. Boys and girls, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.